Hello students, how are you? I think you are well by the grace of Almighty, and I am also fine by the grace of Almighty. Welcome to my channel, welcome to my class. So let me introduce at first. I am Mama Sultan Mia, lecturer from 36 BCS, Department of English, Shahid Bulbul Government College, Pabna. And what shall we discuss today? So today's lecture is theme writing, and we shall discuss a poem. The poem name is September 1st, 1939 by W.H Auden. This is included to your textbook, which is Unit 10 and Lesson 1. So have a look at this. W.H Auden. What is the full form of W.H Auden? Weston Hughes Auden. And he was born in York in 21st February 1907, and he died in Austria on 29 September 1973. So Auden is basically an Anglo-American poet, and he was one of the leading literary figures 20th century. Auden won the Pulitzer Prize in 1948 for The Age of Anxiety. This is the best writing for him, and much of his poetry is concerned with moral issues, evidence a strong political, social and psychological context. So he had a great insight in his mind. Actually, he was a philosopher, and he had a great consciousness about the politics, about the present world, about the modern world, about the anxiety, about the human beings and the rights, civil rights, citizens' right of a human being, everything. So his poetry is versatile and inventive. His linguistic innovations earned him the adjective Audensque. Okay, so it is his title Audensque because his tradition and his artistic devices was very different from any other poets in his contemporary age. Okay, so he was educated at Christ Church, and he was graduated from Oxford in 1928. He was influenced, lots of poets. You see Thomas Hurd, Robert Frost, William Blake. In 1939 he moved to the United States and he became an American citizen. That is why he is called the Anglo-American poet. Okay, he was a modern poet. He had a great insight. He was a philosopher. He was very conscious about the social problem. He was very conscious about the citizens' right. He was very conscious about the present world and the future, and many moral issues, many social problems, the problem of a human being, he has shown his poetry. Today we shall discuss about his great poem September 1, 1939. This poem is 99 lines and there are 9 stanzas. So every stanza there are 11 lines. But in your syllabus you will get only first stanza. That means 11 lines you have. This poem deals with the where. Where horrible sides of the where, the destruction caused by the where he has shown in this poem. Okay, and where brings nothing. It brings only nothingness. It brings only the sufferings. It brings only the deplorable condition of human beings. So where is not blazing for the human beings? Where is the curse? The Second World War. When the Second World War began, Second World War actually started 1st September 1939 and it was ended in 2nd September 1945. So 6 years actually the war was lasted. That is why it brings a great human sufferings to the world, and he was very fearful about what will happen in the war. He actually prophesied. He actually very concerned in this poem. Okay, so the very title you see September 1st 1939, that means the title shows the beginning of the war. So he was very concerned about the human beings and their sufferings, because war brings nothingness, and war brings vanity, war brings the massive distractions, war brings the tear of human beings. So have a look at this, the poem, okay? And one thing is very important, why the Second World War started? Why? The question is why. Hitler, Adolf Hitler, he was the chancellor of the Germany. Adolf Hitler invaded Poland. 2 days later, France and Britain declared war on Germany, and this is the beginning of the World War II, okay? So have a look at this, the point. The first line is, I sit on one of the dives. That means he sat on a dive. Dive means a nightclub or a bar where the beers or where the whiskeys were served. This is very common in the American society. Don't take it in a very negative way actually. Why he actually was sitting there? Why? Because for his relaxation, because he was thinking about the future, and he was thinking about the mass destruction caused by the war. And the second line, on 52nd Street, that means it is the address. It is the address of the dives, I mean the nightclub or the bar. That means he was sitting in 52nd Street's dive. And the third line is uncertain and afraid. That means when he was staying on that club, I mean on that bar, he was thinking about the uncertainty of the war, because it is the beginning of the war. He was very anxious whether the war has been broken out or not, because there was uncertainty in the air. Every people actually were feared. Most people of the time were afraid about their lives, about their wealth, about their houses, and about their sufferings. And number 4, as the clever hopes expired. That means whatever their hopes was, that was expired. It means their atom of hope was expired, because they realized that time that war must be happened. They will never escape from the death, and they will never escape from the war. Of a low, dishonest decade, he actually emphasized on the date, on the decade. Decade means the 10 years. 10 years means 1 decade. So he said this decade is very ominous decade. This decade brings the suffering of human beings, and this decade is not so good, because we said most of the time the day is very bad today, the day is very unlucky today. So in this context actually he has said this decade was very unlucky for them. And the next line, waves of anger and fear. Everybody was fearful. What will happen? They couldn't estimate what will happen in their future, what will happen their schooling, what will happen their children's school, what will happen their family lives, what will happen their job life, what will happen their normal activities. Because when the war begins, that no normal activities continues. So they were very angry and they are very fearful. I mean every people are very fearful and every people are very angry about the upcoming wars. The next line is circulate over the bright. That means the anger and the fear and the afraid was circulating everywhere. That means every human beings, every human nerves, and every human brains. That means everybody was discussing about the fear, about the afraid. Their hopes, their bright future is threatened by the upcoming wars, by the upcoming distractions, because the normal activities of life will be hampered by the wars. So the next line, and darkened lands of the earth. That means the earth becomes gloomy, the earths become frustrated, the earths become barren land, the earths become desolate place. No one will live here. Everything will be destroyed by the wars. That is why he said the darkened lands of the earth. That means the bright future of the earth will be darkened by the war. The next line, the unmentionable of death. You see, mentionable means which can be referred, and unmentionable means that not can be mentioned. Okay, so the unmentionable death, when the world war starts, that it will create a lot of deaths, it will create a lot of sufferings, and it is so huge that one cannot imagine. It is so huge that we cannot mention. It is so huge that we cannot count. Okay, so here unmentionable of death means we cannot count. It is so huge that we cannot count it. Okay, And the last line is offends the September night. It means offense means the sin, so it brings the sins, it brings the sufferings, it brings the distractions, it brings the havoc. So the line offends the September night means the whole September night, every people passing their night with anxiety, with fear, with hopeless. So this is the end of the lecture, and we have already finished this poem, and I think it will help for you. And now let us turn onto the theme. Actually, what shall be the theme of this poem? The theme of the poem is a distraction caused by the year and the present condition of the modern world. Okay, and here you see the poet actually highlights the decline of humanity and the feelings of the uncertainty of the year. Okay, so actually he has made a historical event, and through the historical event he points out that war brings nothing, it brings a great zero, and it only brings the death, sufferings, and the deplorable condition of the human being. So this is the theme of the poem, and I think you have already understood it clearly. And thanks and best of luck. See you in the next class. And if you like my video, then subscribe my channel, and if you already subscribed my channel, then thank you very much. That's all.